It's the 1st of April, April Fool's Day. I'm in the garden today because I've hurt my knee, so I'm not on the allotment. So I don't have to walk very far. A job for today is actually taking cuttings of the chamomile. The chamomile in many places around here is quite lush, even though it's on its first year. Areas like this are doing really well, springy and lovely. But then we've got areas, such as over here in particular, where it's died back good and proper. There's moss and things, so I'm wondering whether it's a drainage problem. But we also have Spirea, magic carpet, Spirea japonica, that's what that is. Now Spirea japonica, I suppose has a cousin, Spirea thunbergii, which produces a phytotoxin, so I'm wondering if that has something to do with it as well. So what I'm doing is, well, I've got to clear out some of this bark chip anyway, which is just fallen down the mound. And as I scrape things away, you find that little chips of chamomile are coming out. So what I'm going to do is put them in some rooting powder and see if we can grow some new plants for these, and then plug these gaps with healthy, strong plants. I also have to think whether, if this is the culprit, to move it away, but it looks really good. So that's my job for today. They're still building next door but one, so if there are noises, that's what it is. Now I've taken the bark off this area, mounted it up there, and you can see how little chamomile there is compared to the other side. So the whole side is not doing particularly well, but that's fine. So I've stripped it all back. I've taken out any chunky bits of growth, give it some more air. Oh, look, we've got worms in here, which is a good sign. For all the the rubbish stuff I've taken out, I'm going to compost that, except for the bits that were down here. So if they have phytotoxins in, I don't want to put them in the compost. So those go in a separate bag and going off to the bin. Now combing through the chamomile, bits come off quite easily. So this is all the growth from last year, and some of it already has little roots on it. So these are what I'm going to be using for the cuttings, and I think they're going to take quite well. So I think that's the next job. Now this is a good bit because I can have a sit down. I'm in the side garden on one of the benches we made, and it's nice and warm. You can still hear them drilling and cutting, whatever. Now to put these on, it's very simple. I've got this wonderful New Horizon peat-free compost. Very important to get peat-free because peat is a non-renewable resource. You can make about 1 millimetre of it a year, and you think how much goes into these bags of compost when you can just buy the stuff which is, brilliant, does the job and doesn't destroy that environment. So I've got trays ready to go, and some of the chamomile that I've just collected, and it's very simple. I've got my root powder, and all this is a hormone just to give it a kick to make sure it gets its roots down. So I'm going to take them. I have to put you down and take the top off. Hang on. It's easy when you've got two free hands. Now this is a chamomile we planted last year, and it's got all leggy and horrid. So I'm going to take a cutting off this. Last year it was as big as that. That's how they started, and then they grow to monsters quite well. You can see the little roots already started on some of these, so I'm just going to trim off the end and give it a dunk in some rooting powder and give it an extra boost and stick it in the compost. And there we go, got about 90 little new plants there. Some more to go, so I'm going to go and do that. It should save us quite a bit of money, and that's not a very attractive background, is it? Let's do that way. Much nicer. So it's going to save us a lot of money doing those cuttings. And it's quite relaxing, It's quite good. These aren't like lavender cuttings, hardwood cuttings, where you just put them down the side of a pot. These can go straight in because they've got roots coming already, and they're quite little, they're tough little buggers. So yeah, I've just got to go and do the rest of these now. and the fruit of our labours, 240 new plants. I can see why they were expensive, because it's a lot of work and my back aches from bending over and then putting them back in. It's starting to rain now, so it's a good time to go back in. Nothing like a bit of continuity, is there? The helicopters came over really low just as I was going in, so I thought I'd get a shot of those. And it's actually quite sunny, so I'm starting to catch the sun, hence the shirt. Well, that's the chamomile in polythene bags to keep them moist, about 300 odd, so that's pretty good. Next job is moving some hebes. We've got some space on the mound at the moment while we push the bark chip back. Hebes are down there at the moment, and then planting some flowers. Exciting times. So I've got 3 sorts of different heights: Lavatera, night scented stock, and candy tuft. And you notice the colours are all the same, because there is a palette in the garden. Apart from all the green, it's whites and pinks. The cherry's just going over. Actually, I've got an apple tree is just coming into bloom here. You can see that. Whites, pinks and reds. Obviously we've got the red bench and the maple when that goes red. So we just want to keep the palette the same wherever we can. Alright, first things first, I've got to dig up these hebes and move them. That's a riverboat. Well, after relocating the hebes to the mound, I'm kind of running out of time, but that's okay. 3 hebes that moved over there. Actually another 2, but the 2 look sickly, so we'll see if they survive or not. In their place I've prepared a seed bed, so I've dug over. The soil was already pretty good and it's got grit and drainage underneath. Just putting some sandy soil on for these. These are going pretty thinly and then they get thinned again, so I'm going to do that and then I can have a sit down. It's been a long day in the garden, but it's been a very productive, fun day. Thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you again here or in the allotment next time. Bye for now.